Hi, my name is Aria. I am 18 years old and I was born in Cusco, Peru, and this is my story. So, I was born in Peru and I was there until I was the age of 5. So, I don't really recall anything from those years because I was so young. But when I came here when I was 5 and I lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania until the age of, well, the year of 2008. But yeah, living in America was, um, I wouldn't say different because I didn't know my childhood very well when I was living in Peru. Like, I don't remember anything from it. So I can't compare those two. But when I moved back to Peru in 2008, it was so different from America. Everything there is so culture, like, everything there is religious. Like they celebrate everything, like Dia de la Virgen, Dia de la Teta. So like, they seriously they celebrate everything, and they're very religious, and but they're so respectful, and they don't know anything about what's here in America, and they're very ignorant in that kind of way. Like they're not they don't base on their lives on technology. Everything is social. Like they go out and meet everyone, and everything is based on there. So I like that about Peru. But I kind of miss America because in here it's more like you meet everyone. In Peru it's like you meet Peruvians or people from other countries. But in America you just get to be with people your own age because in Peru people your own age are very immature and stuff. So. Well, my mom wanted us to go to college in Peru for some reason, and she wanted my older sister to go back to Peru for college, and then she was like, maybe you guys can go too when you're finished high school. So that didn't end up well, but because first we went to Puerto Rico and we lived there for like a year, almost a year, and we went to high school there too. But then we moved to Peru, and it was so different. Like high school there, I went to a Catholic school, so we wore like uniforms where we had to wear skirts, and I felt so uncomfortable. And all the girls are spoke Spanish, and they made fun of me because my Spanish was horrible. And but then I got really used to it, and I became Peruvian, as they would say. I like the fact that you can go anywhere in the United States. Like it's easy for you to visit, New York or something. And Peru, it's very difficult, and you're limited to resources. Like you have to be careful about where you go and who you're with because some people, Peruvians can be very like not all Peruvians, like some Peruvians can be very dangerous. Like if you're going out at night, you can get robbed or some things can happen. So, and if you want to travel somewhere else, it's very difficult to travel, especially because you got to take a plane and then you got to come back. And if you take a bus, you're dead because when you go on a bus, it's like it's Cusco's in a mountain. So when you're trying to go to Lima, you have to go around the mountains and stuff, and you're like literally on the edge of the mountain. You think you're gonna die. So yeah, that wasn't for me. Well, they would think it's like Japan. They're like, oh, everything's advanced there, and I'm like, yeah, United States is advanced. I'm like iPhones. Every week they change they update it, and so I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't really. I was very young. I was in junior high, so I didn't have a cell phone when I was here in the United States. Like my mom would forbid me to have a cell phone. She would always want me to go outside and play. And Peru is the same thing. And if you want to talk to someone, you will have to go outside, and there's one of those people that have like lots of cell phones, and then you have to call from that, and that was pretty cool actually, because you get in touch with people your own age and hang out and go out and play instead of just dependent on technology to contact and contact. But it's like people that work for I don't know how you would call them, but they would have like lots of phones, and they would wear this yellow thing. You know how across a person like worse than across, like helps the kids cross the street. They would wear that color, bright yellow, and they would have lots of cell phones from different companies. And if you want to call someone that has a cell phone from Claro. Let's say there's a Claro company. You call the phone from Claro, and then you were called from that. So yeah. Cusco is very small, so it's easy to get. Like, and you call them from a house phone, you'd be like, hey, meet me in somewhere, and it's just, you meet the person there, so it's pretty easy. And they usually think, United States is like gringos. They would call us gringos and stuff. So Peru is very ignorant in that way. They don't know much about the outside world. They have never seen snow before because in Cusco it never snows, or in Peru in general it never snows. So they're very like held back. Wanted us to get a better education, which is kind of ironic because my mom wanted to go back to Peru to get an education, which she contradicted herself right there. But yeah, she wanted us to have more opportunities because in Peru, they base it off money, and in here in America they base it on intelligence. Like you get on scholarships because you have a higher GPA or whatever. In Peru, it's all about money and everything's about money, and my mom doesn't want that. She didn't want us to be raised on the fact that money is important. I mean, in America, money is important, but in regard to school and college, it's about intelligence and stuff. So. Well, wherever I lived at, whether it's Philadelphia, Puerto Rico, Peru, my mom would always be the same. And, kids my age act the same way, either way in every country. If you're a teenager, you always want to party and have fun. And parents are always, strict and stuff. My mom has always been strict. She always wanted us to be independent, depend on ourselves, not everyone, and not to follow other people, and to have our own thoughts and opinions about anything. So I was raised in, my mom was very culturized with Peru, like she's Peruvian, and she would always think in a Peruvian way, like she would always be like, you always have to say good morning, good night, you have to be proper and say, because in Peru you have to say buenos dias, buenas noches, buenas tardes, and every time you see someone you have to be very respectful to your elders and stuff. So it's always been like that. Oh, which is weird. Like, how does I don't know why Americans think this way. They think that nobody, immigrants can't come to the country, but they can come to ours. Like it's just weird the way they think. And in Peru, it's not like that. You're American. In Peru. Actually, Americans are more favored because they have a higher status. In Peru, it's very held back, and everyone's poor. Not poor, but like usually people that live in Peru have very low, and they don't have really good jobs because in Peru, it's third world country basically. So, and every time an American comes, or there's a lot of people that come from all over the world, so they're always favoring them, like, oh, let's be respectful to this person. So there's always nice to Americans instead of like their own people. So it's kind of weird that we think that way, and plus we have to depend, like basically immigrants built everything. Immigrants usually are in construction workers. They build houses and stuff. So what if they never came? Nothing would be built because Americans are really lazy. So, and plus in Florida, there's the issue, there was always this issue with strawberries, how the farmers are immigrants, and, they grow all these fruits and stuff. So, and the owner was like, oh yeah, they're immigrants, so I'm going to have to deport them. And who's going to who's going to grow the freaking fruit now? Not you, because you're lazy. I guess that, yeah, like towards the end when I finally graduate college, I guess I would think that it is what she wanted. And although she would neglect it and be like, this is not what I want, deep down inside for her, it's what she wanted. I mean, she raised me and my siblings, we're 5 all, so she raised us by herself. And that this is basically what she wanted for us to get a good education and get a good job and do what we love. So by the end of when I finish college, I'm basically gonna have, and when I have my job that I wanted and do whatever I aspired to be when I was young, I guess that she's gonna be happy with that. Yes, definitely. I think I mean, I don't really care. I mean, if I guess yes, there's more opportunities here, to learn. Education is good, as far as I know, because I've never been anywhere else in the world besides Peru. And if you just want to get a good education, you just have to work hard and do your best and not be ignorant and not in that sense of just being biased against other people. Just realizing the fact that we're all equal, just base life on equality and not on ignorance, and study hard and do what you love, and then you'll be successful, basically.